Hey guys, today we're talking Beast Games episode 1 and 2, something a little bit different than the typical show.
Very Squid Game-ish.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch it, and I highly recommend it, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah.
Video.
Except they doubled the amount of contestants and upped the ante to $5 million.
$5 million.
That's a lot of damn money.
Yeah.
Very similar to Squid Game, the reality version. So if you like that, chances are you'll probably like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into it because the first episode is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. And they start dropping like flies, just like they did in Squid Game, right? I mean, you got a lot of people dropping out in the very beginning.
Yeah, they're on these pedestals or something like that, like blocks, and they have like a little keypad. So, and it's like, what can you do with this? And they get pretty creative.
The production on this, like every one of those
great.
pads has a camera. There's cameras in other parts of the room. He said there was over 1,000 cameras.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, they said there's more cameras in this than ever in any show in one room at one time.
And they're giving away more money than ever any game,
That's right.
allegedly.
They're breaking,
And they've
breaking
got
a lot of records.
they got someone reviewing all these cameras as the game is going on. I mean, the production value of this is insane.
Oh, they
good.
did copy the Squid Game, like little math shit and all that
They
stuff.
copied like everything from Squid Game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
called Beast Games. That's even
Because
itself.
Mr. Beast did his cheap, wannabe version of Squid Game on his own, and it wasn't that great. But in this version, though, it was like, because then you got Amazon backing him, and it's like, damn, this is good.
Mr. Beast has been doing stuff like this for years. That's how Mr. Beast became who he is doing it.
Yeah, little janky versions of this.
Yeah, so like,
They
this
did, his
isn't
hide
out of
his hide seat
wheelhouse.
games and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they announced they're going to give away $1 million before they even do the first game.
Who wants
Eliminate
a piece of pie?
yourself. It's like you got to eliminate yourself, and however people self-eliminate, they will split the pot. So if 100 people eliminate, they will split $1 million amongst 100 people. So it starts off really high. One person eliminates pretty early, $1 million, right? But if the second person, now you're at 500,000. It goes down from there. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Would that entice you?
It would, but then it's funny because as we saw, like at first it was like, damn, there's only a few people going at it. They're probably going to split a good chunk of change. And then at the end, man, it was like, and everybody started hitting it.
So there's a
And I was like,
timer.
man.
I don't know why you would kind of eliminate yourself early because you're like, let me just wait until 5 seconds, make a decision, and see where we're at. But the problem is everyone kind of has that idea, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, you're the first person to eliminate, and for a hot second, you're a millionaire, right? But then other people are going to eliminate after, and it's like when you realize the pot's getting down to like potentially $20,000 or less, it's like, would you have eliminated for that?
Yeah, well, these people at the very end don't even have much time to figure out the math.
Right.
No,
'Cause
exactly.
it's like boop, 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 boop,
yeah.
boop.
Yeah.
So what happens is 52 people, I think,
Yeah,
eliminate,
I think so.
and it comes down to like 19,000 and some change.
Which ain't bad, right? I mean, that's a cheap car, so.
Well, after taxes, you're probably like 16,000
It's
or
a cheap
something.
used car these days.
Right, yeah.
Is that
Used to be
good?
a house someday, and like
16K.
years ago.
Well, it's better than walking away with nothing, right?
Sure.
I mean,
And there's going to be a lot of people
Walk away with
throughout this that walk away with
You got to
nothing.
think that there's 1,000
Yeah.
people vying for $5 million, right? So there's a lot of damn people, like you said, that are going to walk away with nothing. So you can walk away with 20 grand, then hey, not bad.
So 1,000 people, 52 of them. That's a pretty low number.
Yeah.
I would probably suspect more because you're getting something for nothing here.
Right.
You haven't even done anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But 52 people eliminate 20K ish. Not bad.
They were probably people expecting to be eliminated first round anyway.
Probably so.
Probably.
And one thing I noticed too, man, like as people are getting eliminated in this game, there are a lot of families here together. So like they took a bunch of families and let all these families play together. And it's like, oh, my husband already got knocked out. Oh, my mom got knocked out. Oh, this person. Like, damn, how many people per family are they allowed to play this game?
Yeah, it's kind of messed up a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah, because like I was saying, the strategy for that would be, if you're
Everybody get on a different
if you're
team.
in a 50-50 shot, it's like, well, you get on this side and you get on this side, and we got guaranteed we got somebody in.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so they get rid of the 52, and now they're broken up in kind of rows, and someone in the row must sacrifice themselves. 9 out of the 12 rows moves on.
Yep.
So
and that's the thing too, man. Like, the people who are sacrificing themselves, they're. I don't know if maybe they're thinking maybe I'll actually get something if I choose to sacrifice myself because that's how the rules are going to work. But obviously that's not what happened, right? You're just once you choose to sacrifice, you're done.
some people self-sacrifice early, and now you just had an opportunity to sacrifice yourself for money. Now you're
For nothing.
sacrificing
Didn't we
yourself
have
just
to-
for the row, which who cares? You don't know any of these people. Why would you self-sacrifice?
Yeah, it makes no sense. If you just didn't do it for money, why the hell would you do it for free? Yeah, exactly. Nah, I thought that was stupid on all those people. I was like, man, you just self-sacrifice. Well, granted, they didn't know that was coming up, right? They didn't know they were going to have to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like they already did one game where a lot of people just had to get, self-sacrifice. And granted, they got some money, but I don't know, man. I think I'd have thought a little more ahead than that.
Like I said, someone like pretty early does this, and people are screaming at each other and trying to convince people.
Dude, somebody go out, yeah. And
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, you do
if it was me, I'd just be like laying down, looking at the ceiling because I'm like, I'm not budging on this one. Like, why? Well, how do I know you guys? What makes you guys different than anyone else?
Exactly.
Too?
And then and then they're like, oh, I got kids and this and that. Everybody's got kids. Everybody's got their own damn sob stories.
Not
So
everybody got kids,
And I'm like,
really.
why don't you just self-sacrifice things?
exactly.
Whatever you saying to me, right back at you. You know what I mean?
I do love the pleads with the other person.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like the pleads and like the begging. Like, just do it. Just do it. Why don't you do it?
Now there is like a
Everybody's
chick
got their
like
own
at the
story.
very end, she's waffling and then she hits the button,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's like we got the 3 rows of people we need, and it's like I think like 60 people in each row or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But like the way they drop the people is really cool and a really cool visual.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like it ever got jacked up where they had to redo it or something like that. It'd be interesting behind the scenes because like the first row eliminated, they kind of go in order and it's like boop, 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 like dominoes. And it's really cool.
The columns.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the second,
You're right. It is column.
the second one,
Thank you.
I guess
Fair
it
enough.
depends on your viewpoint, right? But the
If you're looking at it from this way. Yeah, right.
the second one, they just dropped all at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That
I think
was a
they
cool
were.
visual
I think
too.
they were expecting like the domino again, but then they're like all of them.
And then the third one was like the random.
Yeah.
He's like, just start pushing buttons. So.
Mr. Beast loves to just play with
Oh, dude,
people's
he does.
heads, man. He's like, let's just start dropping them randomly.
Yeah.
And then they get to the next competition, which is also cool. They have these little bins that have various shapes in them, and they're like, build a tower. You got 10 minutes to build this tower. If your tower falls over, you're eliminated. The first 100 people to mess up, you're gone.
Yeah.
And then if everyone builds their tower in the 10 minutes, we'll stick around until we figure this out and towers do start falling.
Exactly. And it's funny too, because like, you had people that finished their tower pretty early.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that was stupid. You need to wait. I'd have waited till towards the end as people are dropping towers and stuff before I really started focusing on
Now,
building my
here's the
tower.
funny thing. I think if you never even started your tower,
You'd probably
you
be
would have
safe.
probably been safe.
Well, and that was my thing.
Maybe.
Like, do you have to have a completed tower, or is your non-completed tower? Do you consider falling right away?
I think that's the risk reward. Like you
Yeah.
start early, you
Mm-hmm.
can figure it out. If you start at the end, maybe you don't have enough time to figure it out.
Yeah, because they never flat out said you have to have your tower built at the end,
Right.
right? It was just don't have your tower fall.
Yeah.
That
Right.
was the rule.
Well,
right?
if I never
So-
build my tower,
yeah.
it can never.
Well, you do
fall.
have to have it built by the 10 minutes.
Do you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, or you're kind of counted as
As
the
a
people who
fall.
fall.
Okay.
So do you count as one of the first because you didn't have it? Do
I don't
the
think
people
so.
who didn't complete it count? So that's the thing is if 100 towers fell and I never completed my tower, but it never fell.
Right.
I don't think they ever showed a single instance where a guy didn't knock over a tower but was still trying to complete it.
Right.
Which, like, I would have loved to have seen someone just sit there and not do
That would've been
anything and
great.
see what
Right.
happened.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Because there's more than 100 people that their towers follow before the end, as we find out.
Yeah.
And some people are pulling the blocks out of the bins, and I think they fumble the block, and there are like gaps in these little columns
it
that
goes.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how deep the show makes it seem like it's like 100 feet, but I doubt it is for safety
Right.
purposes. But
And then, like Ashley said, they got all these cameras, and they're able to all the people behind the scenes are able to go through and count exactly which ones fell in what order and what first 100 were that fell.
and it's
That's
funny
cool.
because someone builds their tower, and Mr. Beast is like over there. He's like, it's pretty solid. And he's like, can I poke it? And he's like, yeah,
No,
you
you can't.
poke it. He's like,
not.
all right, I won't.
He's like, I prefer you not.
He's like, I want to poke it.
Do you mind if I poke it?
I would mind if you poked. I do not want you to poke it.
Okay, I won't poke it then. There.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Beast and his bros, man, they're all just kind of walking around, just they're talking to people and then they're kind of smoking and joking amongst themselves too. So, it's good entertainment.
Yeah, and even so, the 10 minutes goes, the towers are up, and you still have to sweat it out because now they got to count, and they're like, everyone hold in place while we figure out what's going on, and then they show like the control room where they have
And
it.
then they have some towers that are falling during this period that are just
And
like
people don't know,
like,
right?
like I hope 100 towers have fallen
before
already
mine.
because clearly they're later. But
Now they show some that fall for some unknown reason. I
Right.
guess over time it just gives out or what. But like some guys, like he's not even looking at it; it's behind him, and it just topples over. He's like, "What the heck?"
Tower.
He's not even near it.
It was the person on the next thing going.
And there was one person
Poor
that
dude.
falls, and it like falls over into theirs, and you're like, "Holy crap! What
Oh,
are you doing?"
And then that lady's like, "Sorry, I can't help you." She's like, "Give me my piece." She's like,
You're
"Nope,
like, nah,
nope, sorry,
you're done. You're
Well, when
done.
the first tower fell, and then the pieces fell like in through the cracks and everything, I thought. I was like, well, she's never going to be able to get those back up to try it again. I didn't realize that once it's fallen, you couldn't rebuild
it's
it,
done,
and
yeah.
it's like done.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
one shot.
yeah. Mm.
This is kind of like the Squid Game cookie cutter thing, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
You mess it up, you're done.
You're done. Exactly.
So
No
it's
second
their
chance.
version of that.
Yeah.
All these games are very simple, but huge consequences. The pressure's on, which makes
Oh, yeah.
everything simple complicated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they get rid of the 100 people,
And they all drop.
and some people, they drop, and then they move on to the final part of this first round or whatever, and it's the bribe. So if you take the money, your whole column, row, whatever it is
Row.
eliminated.
This
Dude.
is a column. This is a
Dude, I
row.
love this one, man. That black dude at the end, I was like, I was rolling. I was like, holy shit.
He was adamant. No one in that
We
row
ain't
was going to
doing
take it.
We're all gonna make it together, and then that cat. just,
So, and the bribes keep increasing. It starts at 20, then or 10,
See-
goes to 20, 50, and then from there, I think it goes to 80, and then 100.
right, and the first person accepted at 20, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? I
I
was
think
like,
it's up to 10, wasn't it?
Yeah,
No, he
it
didn't
was
get
20.
10. I don't even know if 10's a
Yeah.
real offer because he brings out a briefcase of 10, and then he
You're
almost
right.
immediately brings out a
Immediately
second
goes to 20.
briefcase. So I don't know
Yeah.
if 10 was kind of
And-
on the table or not.
And that first dude that took it, I was like, bro, 20. I was like,
Yeah, one person
yeah, it's-
took it at 20.
That's
it's
more than
crazy.
what the first self-eliminators got.
No, that's
Yeah,
true.
Slightly.
Slightly more.
Yeah. And you're looking at, you've got these rows, that have random numbers of people in it, right? Because
Yeah,
different
it's
people
probably
have
it's
dropped.
like 7, 8 people or something.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
each row has a different amount of people
Yeah.
depending on how they've dropped with their columns and all this other stuff. So some rows have 8 to 9 people, some have like 5 or 6.
And I get it because you're like, shit, is anybody else in my row
Yeah.
going to hit
Right.
it? Because I got to hit it before somebody else does. But at the same time, at the 20, man, everybody knows it's going to be going up. So being the first person to hit it, you kind of screwed yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but
it is
but
more than what the
everyone
first one
else
got.
in his column,
Is out.
whatever row, gets out with nothing.
20 grand,
Yeah.
I do freaking.
Yeah,
screwed
he
everybody else
betrayed
over.
them
Yeah.
for 20K.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what's tricky. It's like not only you against yourself, it's like, what are these other people going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you might go like 20K, that's not too enticing. We're on a game show to win 5 million. But this thing starts to get up. And like as it goes up, obviously more people, 5 people hit the button at $50,000. $50,000
Oh, yeah.
is now real money
Right, that's
for
good.
1 day's worth of work.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's a good chunk of
Yeah.
change. And then I guess kind of like, really, man, I guess you really just got to be kind of looking at your people, man. If you see anybody just getting near that thing, you just freaking hit the damn thing before somebody else does.
Well,
right?
and that's the real mind game of the whole thing is like, you're contemplating, is $50,000 worth it, screwing all these other people over, but how much do you hate yourself if you didn't take that 50, but the guy next to you did,
Exactly.
and now
Yeah.
you get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part you're
because
like,
I mean,
ugh.
at the end of the day, the chances of you being the guy that wins the one or girl that wins the
Right.
5 million is slim to none, right? So it's like, yeah, take 50K and freaking bow
So
out.
what's
you
your
know?
number?
What do you mean?
It got to 50. It got to 100K. Do you cash out at 100? Or you trust in your row
I'd probably cash out at 100.
or column?
I tell you, 80, I would be
yeah, I'd be thinking about
really thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm one of these people that I have faith in humanity, like, and it's to my detriment, I think.
I'll tell you what, at this point, 100,000, I would definitely, if given the option, take it.
it. Oh yeah,
Because chances are you're gonna walk away with nothing in this. So 100K to me is pretty good for,
Exactly.
and this is day 1, so I'm happy with 100K.
And this isn't just like, okay, once 10 people have taken a bribe. He has to get out 100 people. And so depending, I think the first guy who took the 100 grand, he only had enough people to get him to like one over that, like
Yeah, that was funny.
501.
That
So
was
then
funny. He's like,
everybody thought
somebody
they
else
were
has to take.
safe. And it was like,
Yeah.
no, we got to go one more.
Because after this, they move into a city. Mr. Beast says we only have 500 beds, so we need to get down to 500 or less. And right now, there's 520.
So literally, so on the first day, it started out with 1,000. They've got to drop half the people on that
Yeah.
first day. You know,
Which is similar to Squid Game. They drop a
Right.
lot of people on
Exactly.
that, what is it, red light game?
Yeah.
Red light,
I'd
green
be
light.
screaming and going like, I'll bunk with someone. I'll share a bed. It's fine. Leave me in the game.
Well, Mr. Beast ain't going to play that.
I know.
No.
So, I mean, they get enough people. Like, I think five people at 80K, and I think 3 people got 100,000.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Like I said, that black guy at the end, dude, yeah, I was rolling, dude. I was like, 'cause that cat was like all hell bent on everybody in my row, nobody touch it, we're good, we got it. And the cat's like, boop.
yeah, he was
His
talking
whole-
like
the
he
look-
was solid.
And the look on his row's face, man, when he did it, and they're all looking like,
And I think everybody on his row
I
was
was
like
like, oh,
sitting
man.
down. Like I don't think
Yeah.
anyone on his row was close to doing it.
oh yeah, no.
Now is that strategy? Do you play that game or you just be quiet and then push the button?
Hey, it worked for him, man. So,
Do you
Yeah.
need to ever see these people again?
I mean,
exactly.
but do you think
Exactly.
that was his strategy? He always planned on hitting the button, or it just got to a level where he
yeah,
just reevaluated?
he probably just reevaluated there at the end, like, you know what,
Yeah.
100 grand, yeah, sure, boom.
So they move into the city. The city looks really cool.
Yeah,
It's
it
got a
does.
tower and I don't know,
they
things
have-
for people to do and stuff.
But they
kinda.
have this clock of like 12 hours before the next game where they're eliminating people, and I'm like, so why'd you need the 500 beds? Because you're 12. Did they all go to sleep in that 12 hours?
Was it 12 or 24?
Maybe it
I think it was
was- maybe
24.
was it 24?
I think it was
24,
24.
All right.
But
All right, but they had to have the 500 beds for one night.
Right.
Then
hey,
they get rid of half
they had
those
to make
people the
sense
next
of it. I
night.
mean, it's kind of like Squid Game again, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're in
Yeah.
a dorm and you got to do
I
it. So they're
guess.
just copying the formula that worked, I
Yeah.
guess.
See, and if I had
Exactly.
just bunked in a bed with somebody, I could have handled it. They're going to go in the next 24 hours.
Yeah,
It's
so
fine.
the countdown goes. Mr. Beast calls everyone over. He says, take a token. You get 1 of 4 tokens, and then they correspond to a floor on the tower, and they have a little message to
Yep.
let you know kind of what hint to a game you could be playing.
Exactly.
So, and you could trade.
Yeah. Now, and I'll tell you this right now, after that first day, if I saw I had a less is more token, I would have been trying everything in my power to freaking change. That right there tells me a lot of people are going to get eliminated. I'm freaking twitching this shit out, but I'm surprised people didn't catch on to that one.
Not really, because it's the same amount for each time.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, but it was still like, self-eliminate kind of thing.
But I'm
right?
with you.
So-
I see less is more. I don't like that phrase.
exactly.
I'm getting rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So they start off with floor 4, and the phrase is, hope you can catch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty athletic. I don't mind catching something. And these games are pretty simple, so I'm like, it's got to be a simple catch. They're not going to throw something super complicated.
Uh-huh. And they do this Plinko-style shit coming out of the roof, you know?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, I hope I can catch, not, oh, I hope everybody in the
Yeah.
room can
Can
catch.
catch.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what surprised me. It's
Yeah.
like they split them in 2 teams, and they had the little. It's like a dodgeball, essentially. It
Yeah.
comes down the Plinko thing and then just comes down in the room. And if it hits the ground, you're done. And I'm like, maybe one person gets eliminated or something. Like, it's like the ball hits the ground, all of you are done.
Or
Yep,
you get
he's
three.
Something. 3 lives.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's like the first team to get
I'm like,
3
you built
dead
this
balls.
huge apparatus just for one ball to hit the ground?
Mm-hmm.
And they have a ton of balls, so they're prepared for this to go on for a while. And maybe you're like, they'll start easy, maybe it gets complicated.
Start
I
dropping
thought the
more
balls
balls.
were just going to be
Right.
dropping too.
But-
Like they were like, "Here's the ball."
And teams are like,
Here's
well,
the ball.
Oh, yeah.
you're going to be the catcher, you'll be the holder. They're starting to get a little organized. They're talking about covering certain grid squares or whatever.
Yeah.
But a ball comes down, someone fumbles it, another ball comes down the other team, they catch it, and on and on. But like, I guess after the 4th ball, a team just hits the ground.
Oh, yeah.
They
They
just
all looked at
circled
it.
around it. Like it was like a dance circle, on a club dance
Right.
floor or something. They're like, let's watch this ball fall right in between all of us.
Yeah.
And like, I think they were all just expecting somebody else to grab it, and it was like, bloop.
Yeah,
It was
so
like,
it just flat, and everyone's in shock. And of course, immediately one side goes green, one side goes red, like winner, loser.
You got crying, sobbing on this side.
yeah.
You got
Oh, yeah.
cheering on this side.
Yeah,
Everyone's
but-
there was a lot of
crying.
crying going on in this game.
But
For sure.
like Mr. Beast or no one's announcing anything, it's just kind of like hold tight. And then like one guy on one team's like,
He picks
hey,
up on it.
just to let you know, the ball hit the ground.
Yeah.
And they're like, shut your mouth. Shut up.
And then he's like walking
He's like,
around
with
telling
his
everybody.
cameras, and
Yeah.
he's like, I need
Yeah.
you to go sit in
Yeah.
the corner.
Well,
you
and
cannot
somebody,
talk to
and
people.
the thing is, somebody on the losing team's like, why are we still in this
Yeah.
room? They're like, something's going on. We might still be okay, right? So I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And he's like, there's cameras everywhere, man. They saw it. And it's like I guess they did see it. Maybe he alerted them and they checked it. I don't know. But
Right.
because they play like they got onto it. And yeah, you can clearly see he bobbles it. It bounces off the ground. He catches
Catches
it
it
real
quick.
quick. So if you blinked, you probably wouldn't have known.
Mhm, exactly.
What's funny is
But
when
this was the first
it was
ball.
the
Very
first
first.
ball, and what's funny is when they show his little interview at the end, it says he's a wide receiver.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I was
Like, for who?
rolling. Yeah. I saw that crap. I was like, holy cow, man.
Like Pee Wee League wide receiver. What are we talking about?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they built this huge thing in the first ball. That's why I'm like, probably should have gave him 3 lives or something,
Yeah.
make it a little bit more interesting. But these games are really simple at their core. So
Yeah.
And they're meant to make a lot of people drop quick.
So yeah,
They
there
do.
you go. Like an eighth of the field eliminated because the ball hit the ground. The guy fumbled it. So they get to the next competition, which is the second floor. Less is more.
This is the one, like I said, man, I would not have wanted to play in this game.
So now you have to convince. I didn't really like the premise to this because it's another one of those get your teammate to eliminate themselves.
Yeah.
We just saw this in the last one. So I'm
Why
like,
would
quit
someone
doing this.
do this?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, I thought like in the first round when the people had to self-eliminate to save their column or whatever, I thought I would probably have considered self-eliminating because I would have thought that maybe he would have announced after, hey, if you self-eliminated, you get money or whatever.
Right.
But he didn't with those. So I'm like, in previous rounds, when you self-eliminate,
You're
you don't
done.
get nothing.
Exactly.
Now you just saw
So-
people collect $100,000. You got nothing. You made it to the next day. You're gonna eliminate yourself.
Right.
So there's these 2 towers, and one team's in one and another, and whoever has the less amount of people at the end of the time wins. And they can't see each other. There's a phone. They could talk to the other team and try and play mind games, convince the other team of what's going on.
And Mr. Beast can jump in on the phone too.
Yeah, Mr.
trying to-
Beast is playing games. I don't know if they're aware of it, but he's stirring things up.
Oh yeah.
But he does say, like, at the end of 10 minutes, if you have the same amount, we're going to enter a tiebreaker, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
So one team's like, tiebreaker, let's convince the other team that we're going to the tiebreaker. But they convinced some lady pretty early to, like, back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, why? I don't really know.
Because finally somebody's like, look, if you don't think you got it what it takes to make it to the end, then please just bow out. And she was finally like, all right, fine. I'll
I
bow
don't
out."
have what it takes. I think her little subtitle was that she's a grandmother.
grandmother,
So like,
So it's really smart of them to, like, have one less person and say, let's go for the tiebreaker,
Right.
guys, and see what happens. You know, maybe
the other
there's a
team
shot for
wasn't
us all.
buying it,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. So this is the other team wasn't buying it, so they eliminate people, but the time's counting down, and then you got quite a few people that go out.
Yeah.
But one team does have less than the other.
Yeah, one team had 4, one team had 3.
Yep,
It was
so-
close.
I think what the white team wins is 4-3. So 7 people eliminated themselves.
Self-eliminated. Well, and the fourth one on the white team, apparently he said he was eliminated.
2
He eliminated
seconds.
it like with seconds left on the clock. So he like brings him out like he's the hero of the team. He's like, "This is the guy."
He's standing on like that podium at the bottom, like, eh.
He's like, you
was
guys
like,
owe me everything.
Yeah, so this is another tough one because, like, as an individual, you're not playing as an individual, and you probably have very little control over this, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes it tough.
Yeah, it is tough to be in that team mentality of such a large group of people that you don't know nothing about and you owe nothing to. You didn't,
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's the funny thing, though, man. As people were getting eliminated, it's like, oh, I've made so many awesome friends here, and they're my buddies. And like, bro, you've been like freaking 24 hours. Like how close are you?
But I
You
bet
Real close to
I
people
bet
anyway.
there was like a
Right.
lot of waiting around, especially in that first day. Like
I'm
those
sure there
guys were
was.
probably sitting there for hours.
Yeah, lifelong
Lifelong
friends.
friends,
right?
yeah, in those hours, exactly.
Spending the holidays together.
But
now.
then they move on to the third floor. Get ready to throw down.
Yeah.
I like this one
This one was cool.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot.
because this one's like almost like beer pong to a certain extent,
exactly.
right? They got like a cup that and a big ball, and they're on the tower. You got to throw the ball into the cup.
And this one guy says he plays beer pong with his kids, evidently. He's like, I know this game. I play with my kids all the time. And it's like, okay.
So they start going. They have like a couple throws, and then Mr. Beast announced they're going to bring out this golden cup that if you throw it in there instead, you can get 250,000.
Yeah.
But here's what upsets me is like the first couple people didn't get a shot at the 250.
well,
exactly.
you know, he's not known to be fair.
Never this was a fair
There ain't
thing.
nothing in this game so far that's really unfair, right?
It's not fair. It's not,
Now-
sometimes waiting to it's just like, you know, somebody cashing out at 10,000 versus 100,000. The
yeah.
longer you wait, the
Now I'll tell you this. Here's the problem with this. The cup he brings out is it's golden. It's not red, but it's barely
Yeah,
bigger than
yeah.
the size of the ball,
Yeah.
where the
Exactly.
other one is
Way
10
bigger.
times the size of the
this
ball.
is like one of those carnival games. It's like it's not meant for you to be able to win it.
Well,
You would have to swish it in the golden
Absolutely.
cup, but like the other cup is so big.
the people are bouncing it
Yeah.
in and it counts. That dude bounced it in and he was
Yeah.
like, hey, it's in.
I think
And
the
was
first
like, oh,
guy,
shit.
gets a bounce in. So.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
And one team is like dominating.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So I think it's like pink versus white or something like that. And it's like 9-4.
Yeah.
So yeah, then like if you're on the white team at that point, do you try to help your team get further, or do you think that nobody else on this team is going to be able to do it, and then you go for the 250?
I don't think you could ever go to the 250
The
just because
250
it's such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Until the end, when it's obvious who wins.
So at some point, like the white team just can't even catch up. So I was wondering if Mr. Beast was even going to give them an attempt to make the 250, and he does. But I guess no one gets it.
I mean, even the people on the winning team got it. If you didn't get to throw the ball, you could throw the ball and attempted the 250. Yeah. So, but no one could get it.
So, Billy, would you ever be enticed by the 250?
Nope. Well, if I was one of the last few people there at the end and we'd already won, hell yeah. I'd be like, woohoo.
Now, if that was the same size, that would really entice me. My guess is that would entice a lot of people. They probably can't be handing 250 out like willy-nilly like that.
Exactly.
So. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I like that one much better than the other ones, honestly. And it's somewhat of an at least you get your shot individually, even though you're playing as a team.
What if it had been the same size cup, a little bit further away, and like 20 grand?
20 grand, not enough, probably.
No?
No.
It's more than the first people got.
Yeah, no. It would have to be
like
100,000 or something.
I'd say at least 50.
All right.
I think it was at least 50. Some people might
They should have kept it the same side and made it interesting so people are going for both. I mean, they really kind of fumbled that one a little bit, if you ask me. I mean, that was just way too small. I don't think anyone was honestly going for it.
I mean, that one guy that kind of shot for it, and people were like, wait a minute, which cup are you going for? He's like, oh, no, I was going with the red cup.
Yeah, no, he was going for the 250 for sure.
I don't know. It can be tricky because you're high up, so I think you could like miss it by that much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the last one is use your brain. So you think this might be like a cool puzzle or something? It's just trivia.
Yeah, but it was simple trivia, man. That was such easy questions and stuff. And finally, Mr. B's like, all right, we got to switch this up because, there's too
You
many.
didn't even hear all of them. He's like, everybody they knew the answers. They knew the answer.
The first song is like the most #1 songs on the Billboard.
Billboard 100.
The team or the group that has, which everybody knows it's the Beatles.
I don't know if everyone clearly doesn't know.
Everyone did not know because their team said the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
Which
the
is
Beatles.
it's a pretty decent guess, I guess. But yeah, the Beatles.
Yeah.
And these were very easy for the most part questions.
But the most hilarious part was when that teacher's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a teacher. You teach your kids Roman numerals? Oh yeah, we got this.
We got it.
And then she gets a question wrong.
Yeah, they
So obviously wrong.
It's like,
they asked,
man.
what is the number 100 represented in Roman numerals? And it's like, no one uses 100 that often. So I get that could be a tricky question.
Yeah.
But the teacher who says, I teach this in her class, said X.
Yep.
X is a very common Roman numeral.
It's
Like,
used all the time.
Yeah, it
like
is.
X, V, and 1, or I, are like
they're
the
the common
three
ones.
most common that everyone probably knows.
Yeah, and I think about it like I thought about it in the Super Bowl context. It's like I never really know what the Super Bowl is, but I've seen it as XV1, XV2, 1, or I or whatever. So it's like I know that X is in the Super Bowl, and we haven't had 100 Super Bowls. So I'm like, I know it ain't X. I know it's not V. I know it's not I. I didn't know it was C, but like I think you said it was C at some point in time, and I was like,
Yeah, I
C
said it was
makes
C.
sense. C makes sense.
I said it was C, but I did question myself. M, I think M is 1,000. I could be wrong, but I think M is one of them. So I was like, I think it's C, but I surely wouldn't have said X.
Sure,
Right, hell
yeah.
no.
If everybody on my team, if someone on my team had suggested C or X, I would have gone with C for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
You go with a random letter that isn't even associated before you go with X,
I'd
because
have
you know
gone
it's
with
not X.
S. I would have gone with P. I would have gone with anything.
Wouldn't matter. Yeah, exactly. As long as it ain't X or V or I.
Exactly.
So even though they're smaller teams, you're still working together as one of these two teams. So they eliminate more people, and now we're getting down.
Yep.
yeah.
But Mr. Beast says we're not done yet,
Yep. They all thought they were good to go. Like, yes, we're all in it.
and he says choose a captain. One, we're gonna offer a bribe to. So you want to choose someone awfully trustworthy.
And then this cat kept going on and on.
I
It's
love
going to
it.
be a disgustingly insane amount of money. You're going to hate yourself if you don't take this money.
Yeah.
Like, and his buddy's like, dude, just stop.
And he stopped for a second. But seriously, guys, this is a lot of money.
Like, it
Yeah.
makes me want to puke how much money this is.
It's clear. It's very clear. Everyone has a price. Oh, Jimmy, please stop.
And we're gonna find what it is.
So they're like, who wants to be a captain? Like, I don't know, 20 people raise their hand. I mean,
The one guy who was like, that's too many. We need like 5.
Yeah.
Put your hands down.
Well, then
and
that
it's
D-
like they
and then
didn't
that-
really.
No.
like decipher who is actually trustworthy or not. Someone was just like, I'm trustworthy because whatever, and they're like, oh,
Well,
okay,
I like
that's
the
fair.
veteran guy. He's like, look, I just, I travel, so I live out of my car. He's homeless. He's not. He needs money. He's out.
Forget this guy.
Take it.
And then there's, he's not homeless. He chooses to live in his car.
And they're like, well, what do you do? He's like, I'm a influencer or something like that. And
He
it's
said, I make money in social media, is what he said. Well, then you had that Dino guy, and everybody in his group was like, yeah, we got Dino. And this
He's
other,
unbribable.
Yeah, and this other guy's like, well, hold on a second. I think I'd be a good. And everybody's like, yeah, Dino.
Well, I wouldn't trust the guy that comes in the last minute.
Right.
So
I
the
really
first
wouldn't.
guy
He's
was
like,
like
no,
a
hell no.
bearded religious guy. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, religious. There we
right.
go.
Yeah.
Maybe trustworthy. And
They
then
trust
they
Yeah,
get
the
trust the
beard.
beard. That's right.
And then the guy lives in the car, and then the firefighter guy, which he says, I'm unbribable.
Dino,
which-
he's like,
Yep.
I'm retired. He's like, I don't, I got grandkids and stuff. I don't really need the
I mean,
money.
he seems trustworthy.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, compared to everyone else that's throwing things out there.
And then you have the wrestler.
Yeah, and then the wrestler, for whatever reason, is trustworthy.
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
because we didn't get to hear much about her. She talked for a second, and then it was like, all right, well, she's it.
She's like, I got you guys.
Yeah.
And like, okay.
All right, cool. Cool.
So Mr. Beast brings him up there, and then he announces,
Top of the
though,
tower.
yep, top of the tower. He's like, well, guess what? These people who push the button, they're not even eliminated. So they're not self-eliminating. They get to continue on. All you guys on their team are eliminated.
Yeah, but let's say you take the money.
That was a good twist.
And you're there then. And everybody there knows you took that money.
So
Yeah.
what? They're going to know.
I mean, your team is gone.
Yeah.
So, like, you didn't screw anybody else over there.
This has been happening all Beast games.
Exactly.
though.
And as long as there's still a crap ton of people,
Yeah.
the chances are that anybody's gonna be able to gang up on one person is very slim right now.
Well,
right?
you ain't going to get a chance to be
I mean,
a captain again.
Well, yeah, definitely not. But later on down the line, yeah, it could come back to bite them. But right now, nah.
So this money starts off, and it just counts up. And it's like push the button, you get the money, and you don't get eliminated. Mm-hmm. And it gets to crazy levels real quick.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Beast kept saying, "Believe me, he's like, you guys are gonna be. I'm disgusted by how high this mountain is gonna get." So of course these guys are all like, "Well, I'm just gonna let the shit keep going up."
Yeah. And they asked the beer guy, they're like, you're not even, like, considering? He's like, I don't even need to look at the number.
Yep.
He's like, what's the point?
And this thing's going up, and we got no takers, and of course it cuts before we even see what goes
But you
on.
see
But you
Dino hover his hand over.
and his whole team's like, "Dino, no, no."
Now, is there an amount you push the button?
Oh, dude, I mean, well, so when it got like 700-800 at that point, you're like, okay, this thing's probably going to
To a
million.
million,
So
yeah.
when he got, once it got over 9, I'd have probably been like, boop.
Okay, but now everybody else is standing back there. You see Dino's hand go over?
Uh-huh.
Are you bumping?
Oh,
Are you hitting before
when,
Dino
when,
hits?
when I saw Dino's hand going up there, I'd have been hitting that shit in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Absolutely. If I was a
Yeah,
good
now
player-
here's the thing. Mr. Beast does say there is some good news. Like, if none of them push the button, then
Yeah.
we'll just continue on and no one
Nobody
gets
goes
eliminated.
home.
So
Everybody
no one
stays.
has to get eliminated in this
Yep.
game. He also doesn't say, like, how many people are possible to push the button. Like, I don't know if one person just pushes the button or more or what.
I
right.
think it's probably the first person.
yeah,
Probably the first person.
I think it was just the first person. But I
Now
mean,
imagine you reach because Dino's reaching,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hit and you both hit at the same time. One of you's getting it and one of you's not, but everybody,
Everybody
knows.
knows.
that you hit the button.
right.
Yeah,
I wonder.
800,000 plus is getting my attention.
Oh my gosh, dude, absolutely.
For
man.
sure. Maybe
Yeah.
500 I start paying
500
attention.
is probably getting my
Yeah,
attention.
well, because eventually even Beards started turning and looking. They're like, "Oh, Beards looking." They're like, "He's looking at it."
They're like, we're going to
Yeah,
find out the
yeah.
limits.
They're like, "Don't look at it."
I'm pretty sure $1 million is the limit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
So
think
does
so, yeah.
anyone push the button thing?
And well, I mean, it leaves us thinking Dino's gonna hit. All right, his
I
hand
don't
gets
know
up
if he
there.
is. I think
So,
that's some
he was probably
trickery.
Just, I mean, he might have just been screwing around.
I don't
the
know
whole
his
time,
face.
but-
He like they zoomed down on his face, and he's either messing with his team or he's really contemplating.
Now, at some point, Dino's like pumping his fist, and they're like, "Put your hands
Hands
down,
down.
like get away from the button."
Hands in the pocket.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's like relishing the moment, but
headbutt
people are
that
like,
button.
"Yo, get away from that thing."
I mean, if anybody hits it, it's gonna be Dino. Because I mean, you saw the wrestler. She was just standing there, cold
No,
faced.
I
the
don't
whole
know.
time,
I think
looking.
she
I don't
was
know.
thinking. I think the gears were turning, and she's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
the
maybe.
calculations.
Maybe.
And what can I buy with this
I
money?
think the veteran guy too. I think he was thinking about it, but I think his pride's gonna get him to not do it.
The only person I trust is the bearded
That's right.
Yeah.
religious guy.
Yeah, I'd be
honestly.
shocked if he's
That's
the
right.
one who took it. So
But that's Beast Games so far. Highly recommend.
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where it goes, especially as it gets down. I will say the one thing that Squid Game does better is like it gets more personal with the people because I don't really know anyone. These are all just numbers at this point, even still.
Maybe you do. Maybe they do in later episodes as it gets like, because the problem is when you get to know these people early on, like Squid Game did, like then you kind of tend to know that they're going to stick around. But I mean,
well, I mean, there was a mother-son combo that definitely did not make it, and then you got there's a lot of people they wanted you to hate in Squid Game. They did a good job.
They did. Yeah, that's true. I'm assuming once it starts narrowing down, we'll start getting know a little more personalities and stuff like that on this one as well. But yeah, we'll see.
The other thing I like is like Mr. Beast. Obviously, it's Beast Games. He's heavily involved. Squid Games, like.
You don't know who's running it, really.
Which I enjoyed a little bit more. Mr. Beast, I mean, it's kind of fun. He has some jokes in there, but it's almost like too, I don't know, loose for my taste.
I don't know. I
enjoy it, man.
I think there's the game for the people to win money and the filming of it for us to watch it. But I think Mr. Beast and his crew, it's a game for them, too.
Oh, dude, they're
having the time of their life.
Yeah, they're out there having a hell of a time.
There's no pressure for them.
Oh, yeah, dude. They're just like, and they're even talking like what they would do. Then one dude's like, oh, shit, yeah, I might hit it, too.
They offer one guy to give a speech, and they grab the mic, and they're like, lock in, people, let's go.
Well, because that guy's speech was going nowhere, man.
Well, it was good.
It started out so good, and then he pulled an Ashley. Like, it was like a really good point. And
they started talking about cornhole, and people were like,
give me this game. And they're like, this is done.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Of inspiration.
We are not in a deficit. Every shot is your shot. Everything is...
Yo! Lock in! Lock in!
Yeah, so it's kind of mixed for me. I actually think Squid Game's a little bit better, but who knows? Maybe I really liked the first episode. The second episode lost me slightly. I'm still hoping as it gets down.
I totally enjoyed it, man. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it a little better in Squid Games too so far, but we'll see how it continues. But this is something new and fresh, and so I'm sure it is for all of you. So please tell us what you thought about this. Is there anybody you're rooting for early on here? Who would you like to see win? And
bearded guy?
Yeah, old Beard. And I'm kind of digging Beard after this. But anyway, guys, hey, we love doing this. Y'all hit that like and subscribe. We will check y'all at our next review.